Every time governments screw up, there is an army of propagandists in media and academia ready to spin it as an indictment of free markets, as yet another reason we should hand everything else to government so they can break that too. Last weekend, economist John Cochrane unleashed a brilliant essay skewering a long screed from the New York Times, arguing that everything that's gone wrong these past 3 years, from shortages of toilet paper and face masks to lumber and baby formula to inflation and recession, have proved that free markets are broken and governments need to fix them. By the way, you and I don't care about the Times' Trotskyite navel-gazing, but sadly we must care because the Times is the band leader for the rest of our bootlicking media and academia. It calls the tune, which then comes for us. Cochrane kicks off that, as bad as all these things were, they were all precisely because government broke every single one. So price controls and rationing, licensing and incompetent gatekeepers who blocked entrepreneurs. He cites examples of face mask startups shut down by the FDA, or one company that tried to import masks from Europe but was stopped because they didn't have FDA approval. They had Europe's FDA approval, but not this one. Same story in baby formula, where Americans had to go to Mexico to find shelves full of baby formula that could not be imported because the FDA is a jealous master. So the government should have gotten out of the way, and it did not. In fact, he makes the excellent point that stockpiling rarely used medical equipment, like billions of masks we need approximately once every 109 years, is precisely the kind of thing we all thought public health officials spent their billions on. Next up is pinning income inequality on free markets that, in reality, soared after Nixon as the Federal Reserve turned to industrial-scale transfers of wealth to the rich in the form of subsidized loans, of course paid by inflation for the poors. The Times goes on to blame the free market for Putin's invasion of Ukraine, writing that, quote, "The invasion of Ukraine has now decisively unmoored the domination of free market orthodoxy." As Cochrane notes, only governments start wars, kind of by definition. Same story with inflation, which the Times again blames on markets. But again, only governments print money. The rest of us get arrested for counterfeiting. Finally, it's the angry sky fairies who destroy crops and, quote, halt power plants. I did not make that up. The Times literally thinks weather shuts down power plants all on its own. The Times' 6 degrees of blame markets here is, quote, "The market's invisible hand is not protecting the planet." It's worth pausing to note the abysmal environmental record of the Soviet Union, which poisoned lakes and entire regions of polluted barren land. In short, the world is imperfect and government makes it worse. So, according to the Times, we must enslave ourselves to crony, incompetent government. In fact, I'd argue the lessons of these past 3 years has been how astoundingly badly government screws up everything they touch. From bungled wars to crony regulations to the catastrophically incompetent FDA and CDC, the lesson since COVID has been that government has grown too big already. It has grown into a cancer that is eating us alive. However, of course, to the regime media, that cancer is an opportunity. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.